Hey all, welcome to Film Suck, a Patreon podcast in which we ponder the work of art in the age of crap cinema. I'm Eileen Jones, and my usual co-host, Dolores McElroy, is off today. She's building a new life for herself, but she will be back in 2 weeks for our next episode. And today, instead of Dolores, there's a special treat. I'm happy to welcome our special guest, Conan Neutron, who's a host of the dynamic podcast Movie Night Extravaganza. They've often hosted me. Thank you very much. And also the long-running multi-decade music interview podcast, Conan Neutron's Protonic Reversal. And on top of that, this is a busy man, the leader of the rock band Conan Neutron and the Secret Friends. That's a lot. Welcome, Conan.
Yeah, usually my joke, such as it is that when someone reads off all my plugs, I'm like, well, that's all the time we got, folks.
Yes. It's good. It's impressive, though. It's a great lineup.
I do what I can when I can. And it's great. It's great to be here as a listener, regular listener of the show. It's an honor to be here.
Thank you. So. Yes, and we've been planning this. We've been talking about this for a little bit, and I'm glad we finally had a slot that opened up that I could bring you on. Because especially with this film is a great one to talk about, and anyone who's seeing it, I'm sure, is avidly seeking people to talk with about it.
I'm on a show with someone who saw it before any of the rest of us and was like, one of you please see this movie so we can talk about it?
Yeah. Exactly.
He's like, I've got memes ready. I'm like, of course you've got memes ready.
Of course. It's Yorgos Lanthimos' latest. He's very prolific lately. Bugonia. It's in theaters now, and it's a wild trip of a movie. And I'll just give you a brief summary, and then we'll plunge right in. It stars Emma Stone, Jesse Plemons, newcomer Aidan Delbis, and Alicia Silverstone, coming out of retirement or something. Stone plays Michelle Fuller. She's the CEO of the pharmaceutical company Oxolith, who gets abducted by a pair of rural cousins named Teddy Gatz, that's the Plemons role, and his autistic cousin Don, that's the Delbis role. The cousins are convinced she's an alien bent on destroying the Earth. And Teddy works for her corporation, Oxolith, as a lowly package shipper, and he's a beekeeper on the side. His mother, Sandy, an opioid addict, that's the Silverstone part, was a test subject, prescribed one of Oxolith's experimental drugs, which put her into a coma. Teddy and Don are holding Michelle Fuller captive till she contacts her mothership and arranges for a meeting between them and the aliens, specifically the Andromedan rulers. That's the alien rulers, according to Teddy. Teddy and Don are planning to negotiate an agreement to save the Earth by getting the Andromedans to leave. Important caution. We always say it every week. Spoiler alert. We're going to spoil everything. We're going to talk about everything, but it's especially important here. There's a 3-minute plus some seconds ending that is driving a lot of people nuts. And if the movie is getting a bad review, and some of them are bad, they tend to be shrieking about this ending. So we're going to get into that later. So definitely, if you don't want to mess up the I guess you could call it a surprise ending, depending on what your viewing experience was. You definitely want to see it before we start talking. Okay, Conan, I'm dying to hear. What is your take on Bugonia?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the broad stroke is I freaking loved it. I thought it was awesome. I am super glad I got to see it before the discourse, and because just knowing the world at large, it's not that. I guess you can spoil it, but it's more like I think your experience would be poisoned by reaction culture on this one.
Yeah,
I can only imagine, and what a joy it is to just have that experience of seeing it and be like, oh wow, okay. I think overall, I'm a Yorgos fan. I say that as someone that was very nonplussed by The Lobster. I thought it was fine. Didn't really care for Dogtooth that much. I was like, all right, I get it. But as time has gone on, I found him to be a more compelling and interesting filmmaker, up to and including this real masterclass in meanness and ceaseless brutality he seems to be on, that is all over the place, especially in Kinds of Kindness. But I'm thinking of The Favorite. I'm thinking of Poor Things, which I just adored. It was like one of my favorite movies of the year. And this is amazing work here as well. I mean, it focuses on information bubbles, ecological catastrophe, and just the grasping sheer desperation of our current times. It comes across really well. Stone, I think, has become one of her generation's greatest actresses, which is wonderful, and I think that's on display here as well. Plemons also just wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Really love, and I'm sure we'll talk about it, Stavros as the cop.
Oh yes,
I was like, oh, I forgot he was in this. And by the way, in your intro, I forgot that the mom is Alicia Silverstone.
Alicia Silverstone, I know.
And I was like, oh my God, she's right. Like I was frantically looking at IMDb. I was like, was she the mom? I'm like, oh wow. And as someone who grew up of a certain age where she was, relatively ubiquitous in the 90s, and not unwelcomingly so, it's great to see her in a real film, because it seems like she always seemed like she was an actress that wanted to go and do deeper stuff, but sort of was typecast a little bit and not really allowed to do so. And so you'll have to see that. But it's amazing that that's like a third tier thing for this bonkers film compliment. That is just a wild ride, because I mean, I'm sure we're going to get into it, but there's people that are arguing for ideological coherence here. I mean, that's not this movie. It's like, there's a great line that where she goes, lies, truth, what's the difference? That's like the pull quote that should be advertising this film for anybody that's this in the cinema, because it so sums up everything. Is he right? Is he wrong? Is he sane? Is he insane? What's the difference? Doesn't matter. And so I find it very bleak, but also profound. And the sobriety and empathy of the final scenes, I guess I shouldn't be surprised that people are upset at that point, but I loved it. But also, look at this. The world we live in politically, the cruelty is the point, right? So it's amazing that Yorgos, and I fully get when he's like, hey, I got to kind of take a break from all this for a while. Because like, man, look at these last movies he put out. They're pretty dark stuff. But I think he's really made, just like Eddington, like one of the great movies of our times. And I think him and Ari Aster have a lot in common, as well as filmmakers. So it's interesting to see how differently they're reacted to. Whereas, again, I loved Beau's Afraid. I don't think you did so much, but it's a 2.5 hour panic attack. Compliment for me. But I get it when someone's like, I'm not into it. I get it. I get it. And it's the same thing. I think Eddington is sort of like a more focused version of that, but also very endemic of our, especially a few years ago, but also the current times. This is information bubbles galore. This is confirmation bias personified. There's a couple turnarounds with it where the things that the Jesse Plemons character does to his poor Lenny of Mice and Men, like relation, who's just along for the ride, are abhorrent. And then, spoiler alert, everybody, turns out he's right, which is, for me, is amazing. I'm like, that's incredible allegory. Right. And if it was anyone other than Yorgos Lanthimos, I would probably be more surprised, but he has a tendency to kind of like go really full bore for things like that. And I found it to be very interesting, because then you think about, well, if he was right, okay, but look at the lengths he took to get there, like General Patton style, and that's something that sparked a lot of ideas in my mind about, morality, the few versus the many, so on and so on. And then it all sort of ties into, and I'm sure we'll get into it, but when that incredible speech that Stone gives, where the reveal that she actually is an alien. Once again, sorry everybody, spoiler alert. And just the prosecutorial line against humanity. It's like, well, you got to hand it to her. She's got us there.
She's got us there.
She's where's the lie? Amazing work, challenging. I love movies that challenge, and I feel like most of this pablum that we're served up today does anything but. And it was malevolent in so many ways, but in all the ways that I love. I thought it was great. I think it's somewhere sitting on, like, I don't know, right now, number 3, number 4 movie of the year for me.
Yeah, I also was delighted. I was not crazy about Kinds of Kindness. I'm iffy on Yorgos Lanthimos.
Like, if somebody says, like, I hated Kinds of Kindness, like, yo, I get it. I get it.
I really did. I really despised it. But I loved The Favorite, which I know is considered contemptible if you're a Yorgos Lanthimos fan, because that's where he goes commercial.
The Favorite's great. What are they talking about?
That's awesome. The part, but that's when he goes. So purists who really, really love him apparently think are like, psha. He's selling out. But I just adored that movie. And Poor Things, I sort of admired aspects of it and had problems.
I remember.
the other. So yeah,
and I say, as a full mea culpa, I went hard on the rec for you on that. I was like, you got to see it. It's amazing. And then I was like, oh, she doesn't love like that magical realism stuff very much.
yeah.
I was like, this
But
might be
at the
a
same
harsh
time,
tone.
he definitely goes toward I don't know if you want to call it the surreal, the fantastical, those elements. So I wasn't that shocked by the ending. I mean, the whole process of Bugonia is there's the ground is shifting under your feet all the time. You're constantly grappling to readjust your attitudes, your takes on things as all this cut and thrust action and argumentation goes on, and you recognize the contours of the arguments, but the way they're spun or the way they're handled or who's saying what keeps making you just go, whoa, whoa. And I love that. I think for the same reason you're saying, we're not being spoon-fed anything here. This is a challenging film, deliberately. So in the end, when she reveals, yes, all right, you were right. I actually am.
Yeah. And you don't know if it's a play. You know, like, is this for real this time? Because a couple times she does the kind of like.
I thought at first, oh no, this is just her next.
Yeah, she's really convincing on this one. It's like, oh no, she's
captive, and we see that she's part of why he regards her as so sinister. And you should be thinking of They Live very much.
Oh, 100%.
This is like Carpenter's vision of the horrors of the Reagan era. The pro-business corporate monsters, the yuppie monsters who are taking over, they're aliens. And that's how when you're watching it, there's nothing more compelling than that argument. They're just like, yep.
You're onto something. It's like the spiritual inheritor to them.
Yeah, it does. It seems
to a certain degree.
And you just supposedly you take that and run with it. So that's the attitude Teddy is based on his own research.
And that's funny too. You mentioned that because if you think about it, the Roddy Piper character, Roddy Piper, everybody, the star of They Live,
working class
guy. And Carpenter was very clear about, no, this isn't like any of this new school conspiracy stuff. Like, this is abjectly anti-capitalist movie. End of statement. And it's very clear to anyone that isn't looking at things with a modern lens, but this is the update to that in the way that you do have the Jesse Plemons character that, like, what does he say? Like, he's the far right, the light far right. I forget what he says. There's some phrase like left. I've tried them all, blah, blah, blah. And so he ends up down this insane.
He talks about 5 years he spent, and a lot of it is leftist position points he's talking.
Right. And then that's how we ended up down this, if you will, Andromeda strain. Thank you very much. But
Andromedans, and then that's where he goes when he's exhausted. He feels political theory and quote unquote activism.
And that's the update to this, because I've seen when younger cats, especially, are people, not actual cats. I'm talking like the Jazzbo term cats, but when they look at They Live, they're looking at for modern sensibility. Like, oh, this guy would be a total like Alex Jones guy now. It's like, yeah, but that wasn't what was happening then.
Yeah.
But this is the modern update of that, because this is a guy that through his pain and misery and lack of any kind of materialist sense of hope or justice is looking for catharsis in a different way. And we're meant to think, quite frankly, fairly early on, oh, he's around the bend on this. Like, this guy's a nutter. He's dangerous to everyone around him. And it's the pain of what's happened to his mother that's caused him to do this, and this misery that they're in fact. I mean, and that place, the pharmaceutical job that he's working at, it's basically Amazon. Let's not get it twisted.
It's basically an Amazon-like place where they're just packing boxes and taping boxes all day, every day. His coworker has a stress injury on her hand,
and she doesn't want to report it because I don't want to make waves. And it's
exactly. So you're representing what the workplace is like, but that old dilapidated house that he's living in, which is either his mother's or his grandparents or somehow in the family, and he keeps saying to Don, "We're the last ones." So the implication keeps being it's not just his mother in a coma. His father ran off years ago, couldn't handle it. You don't know how many generations of decline we're talking about, but it's clearly supposed to represent, quote unquote, American heartland working class decline in the rural areas. What other film should that be reminding you of? Texas Chainsaw Massacre. There are horror and sci-fi roots, with class critiques coming down, and anti-capitalist class critiques coming down the pike here and meeting in Bugonia. And every time you see that house, you just feel a shudder up your spine and think, what's going on in that house?
Nothing good is happening there.
Bad things are going down in that rural house that's going to seed and there's only got these last two people left in a fallen family. You're just like, oh god,
Right.
oh god, oh god, and yeah, you're
top
gonna find out.
dollar best, it's going to be real depressing in there. That's the
Yeah.
top dollar best it's going to get. It's probably something way worse than that.
And it's way worse. We'll just spoil it right now. It's,
Right.
Again, take a line through somewhat Texas Chainsaw, but toward, so we say, examining people to see if they're aliens. That's one of the discoveries you make. It's one of the many. Again, it's all the shifting going, because, if you're me or another sane person, I would say politically, you're going to find so much of what he says compelling. I think it's supposed to be. But they're both, one of the great things about the movie is both Teddy and Michelle Fuller are rhetorical masters in their ways.
Oh yeah.
In their crazy ways.
As someone who, like, one of my favorite movies is the movie of Glengarry Glen Ross, not the least of which for just the David Mamet dialogue, which talk about a guy that went around the bend politically, but the master of just that, just like a full, like 5-course meal of dialogue back and forth. And so you get good actors saying it, and you're just like, oh, that's so great. And this is a great example of that. Like, I actually have to wonder if, and Emma Stone, who's an amazing actress, but did she go to like a corporate training or something? Because she has the cadence, she has the look, she has the physical positioning, and it's just remarkable. And to see that turned around for like what's ostensibly like, a Misery, like the Stephen King Misery book, and I guess to a lesser extent movie situation, is astounding. And by the same token, like, Jesse Plemons' character, who's like, he's prepared for this for like so long, his life's been preparing for this. He gives this big speech about how like you got to remove all distractions, to the point of chemical castration, which is like,
he has chemically castrated himself, and then he does it to his poor benighted cousin. It's one of the most heartrending scenes ever, the way he gets his cousin to go along with this.
It's so alarming, and it's so absolutely a Yorgos Lanthimos move too. Compliment. But he is in his way so prepared, and then just immediately she just CEOs clamp down, frames the argument like she's got all her,
keeps reframing in this quick silver way. And we've already seen her use this kind of rhetorical jujitsu on her workers, where it's supposedly an enlightened new era, where she tells them, now there's no more of this working till you drop nonsense. Right. Now you can all go home at 5:30. Regular 9 to 9:30, 5:30 kind of thing.
Yeah. Oh, unless you have work to do, or like you said, the caveat.
You haven't left. We are running a business here, so it's kind of a let your conscience be. So you be your guide thing, so you know what the result is going to be.
Yeah,
they're all going to be working more than they ever were before, but the boss can now claim it was your choice. You could have gone home. Right.
Exactly.
Okay, so everyone is going to get the message, the double think message.
And that's a professional managerial cast / neoliberal mindset of like, oh no, we're not doing what these horrible Republicans are doing. Yeah. It's like, no, you're framing it as consumer choice. And you're framing it as something where it's a false dichotomy. And it's something where anybody with a lick of critical thinking would be able to like shoot holes in that theory, but no one dares because it's their job on their line.
Yeah, your job's on the line. So there's something real on the line. There's nothing real on the line for her. And so she's great at this pivoting and shifting. And, to his credit, he's prepared. It's part of his preparation that he's ready for her on so many fronts. He's like, oh, I know. Now you're going to do the blah, blah, blah. He can recite what her talking points are going to be before he counters. So what's been frustrating to me is some of the bad reviews. And again, there's lots of good ones, but it's only doing, if you want to go in the parlance of our times, the Rotten Tomatoes tomato meter, it's only like mid 80s in its approval rating, because there are some very noted bad reviews. And for a lot of these people, they're like, this is the banality of the thinking. This is a movie about people who are talking past each other, as if they could just communicate, they could work it all out. And it's as if, have you people never considered sometimes there is no common ground? We're soaking in it right now in this country where there's all this, again, liberal, oh, what a shame that there's no civility if we just talk it out. You can't talk it out when your positions are diametrically opposed, and when the people you're opposing are taking stances that are so horrific. They amount to things like maybe slavery wasn't so bad. You cannot just talk that out.
You can't find a middle ground. And it all comes back from that 90s centrism, like Rahm Emanuel and all them trying to propose that you could always find a third way.
Exactly.
No, man. If someone's like,
that
I want to
left
murder
us.
you. Well, can you use a knife instead of a gun? I would appreciate that. No, they want you not to exist. They want to burn your fields and salt them so that none shall grow afterwards. That's what they're looking for. So you think you want to compromise with that? Yeah, good luck.
We have waded far, far into fascism already. How much further can we go?
No, I think these next two think pieces are really going to turn things around, Eileen. I think it's going to
work.
Yeah,
exactly. It's this idea. And I was reading comments by the screenwriter. His name is Will Tracy. He actually wrote for The Onion for a while, but he also writes for Succession and what else? Oh, he did The Menu. So very dark.
Oh, yeah. I like that one.
But anyway, he was talking about like one of the impetuses behind the way that the handling of the dialogue was his own sense of fury that someone actually said something like that. If we could just, what do we there were think pieces he kept reading about the universal health care proposals saying, what are we talking about when we're talking about universal health care? And he just suddenly found himself going, talk. We talk and talk about it, and nothing happens. We get no closer to the thing. There's no action in a good direction at all. And
right, because what you get is how we're going to pay for it. And for some reason, nobody ever answers, well, you are literally paying for it now. It's just going to these for-profit entities who make their millions denying claims and denying care. So if you believe that healthcare is a human right, then those jobs will go away.
We always see bazillions of dollars going to on a whim. I think we're going to send $40 billion to Argentina. We've got another war idea. We've got a ballroom to build. We've got whatever. There's always money if it's truly wanted on the side of the people in power. So at any rate, that's literally one of the points. He makes it more elegantly, better, more powerfully that Teddy makes. It's always all this rhetoric and all the generating of word clouds, and that always favors the elite in power, always. So that when she keeps pleading, let's talk to me, because she knows she's always going to win on that ground. The longer you talk, the longer no action ever needs to be taken. That's going to be truly satisfy the other side.
Oh, absolutely. And again, that's why I find it so annoying when people are arguing for ideological coherence on it. Well, is it pro-corporate? What? Like, what? Did we see the same movie? Did you fall asleep? Like, no. Like, what do you mean pro-corporate?
Oh, really? I didn't see that. Wow.
No, and in that take, I'm just like, I don't even want to engage with this. This is a whole, it's around the bend.
How is it pro-corporate?
Because he's right.
He makes a speech when she's revealed to be an alien where she says, yes, part of her cover was being in this company, and the longer she played the part,
the more she was corrupted.
The more corrupt she got, the more awful she got.
It's incredibly salient critique of corporatism, but I don't know. People, he is the kind of director that engages with provocative material, and provocative material is going to evoke strong reactions, whether they based on what I consider strong logic or otherwise. But it really does come down to that lies, truth, what's the difference line, which is just like, is there still like the material results of the fact that, he's dedicated his life towards this thing is right. And still manages to fail. Like he basically runs the marathon, and he's
done all the prep. He's the only one who's right. Which again, I should just note, that's a horror film trope. The one that no one will listen to is the only one who's right. But you're led into thinking that isn't the case because he is clearly mentally ill. Supposedly Jesse Plemons just didn't wash his hair for a couple of months.
Oh, right? He looks like he smells so bad.
Oh, he does. He just looks.
You look at it. I mean, like peace and love in my heart. But you're like, you see that guy at like the Goodwill or whatever when he's like getting clothes. Like, I'm gonna stay clear of this guy. Like nothing's gonna rep with this.
And his co-star who's just like they said it was kind of off the street casting for somebody who would be good. Aidan Delbis, he's never acted before as Don. I don't know when I've seen such a heart-wringing performance as this, because he loves his cousin. His cousin is all he's got left, and he loves his cousin, but at the same time he knows more and more he can't bear the torture, he can't bear the harshness, he can't bear the violence, and it just keeps escalating until this film is really riveting in that it's agony to watch.
Oh, absolutely.
You're just gripping your chair going, oh God, this is going to be bad.
Some movies would make that sort of Mice and Men, many relationship
really icky.
The cusp of it, right? And here it's just like I don't know, like almost third tier plot point. We're just like, it's a tragedy because because he's dragged along into this, and
Dragged
it's
along.
again,
He
it's
doesn't
just,
want to do almost all of it at the same time that he believes his cousin.
and then there's these incredible comedic beats, like when they're having this intense back and forth at the kitchen table, and it was like, well, can I still not go to the bathroom? I need to, which is I sounded like a psychopath with how hard I laughed at that in the movie theater. I was like, come on, really? Nothing? People? Jeez.
I know this movie is not made for everyone because I mean,
I was sitting there thinking of like, he could have been pissing the entire time. You guys were like working this out. Like the man's got to go. Like let him go.
Let him go. But yes, as Teddy gets more desperate, he keeps trying to lock down every element.
Right.
So he gets crueler and crueler in his treatment of his cousin, and certainly in his treatment of the alien. Well, it gets a little. It goes into weird territories you're not expecting, where he does a torture thing. And then decides as a result, because she was able to withstand the huge pain, and what do you even call what he was doing to her? He was like
shock therapy back.
Yeah, shock therapy.
Yeah.
And she was able to take so much without, I don't know, her head exploding that he decides she's royalty. She's eating royalty. So then he has a spaghetti dinner for her.
Right. And he starts treating her totally differently. And can I tell you, on Movie Night Extravaganza, we just did a month of witch movies, which was great, of which you were.
That was fun.
Yeah. And it just reminded me of like the witch trials, where it's sort of like, oh, well, if she floats, then
yes,
and she's whoops, our bad, you know.
She's guilty, right? But if she sinks and drowns, she was innocent.
Our bad. I guess she wasn't a witch.
Sorry.
You know? Like what? What's the end for this? You know, I mean,
yeah, exactly.
And it's it's something that it's so brutal and so intense that you have that Aidan Delbis character Don just like, stop. Like he's one of the only times you really see him take action, and he's like, he's like, no, he's like browning out the power in the neighborhood. Like it's crazy. Yeah. And then, and all of that.
And then to see his death, again, we're spoiling him. His death is really wonderful in terms of the end points of skillful rhetoric that you can weave and weave and weave around people until he desperately wants to leave Earth. It's because, and who can blame him?
Why would
he just wants out?
Identifiable, can I say? But especially for in this house, this house of misery. I mean, of course he wants to leave. Goes to literally anywhere else.
He thinks she's agreeing to that, but then quite unexpected, and she says, "Yes, I'll take you with me.
I'll take anywhere you want." Anyway,
she's lying. She's got to be lying. This is so she can just escape. And then he suddenly blows his brains out with a shot. And you're just like. And it just goes all over her face, and you feel like something went all over your face because it was not what you were thinking. That the urge to just get out just becomes overwhelming, and he just shot.
Well, and that almost reminded me of like a Todd Solondz or something, a Todd Solondz move, because it is just so brutal. Where you're just like, oh, like I mean. I'm not big on trigger warnings for movies, but it's like, hey, if you
you're not seeing it coming. You think the next thing is he's going to be like, okay, what do we do, and how do you beam me up, and all that, and then but it has a wonderful momentum for that horrible feeling when you're just having yourself wound up in somebody else's awful language and promises and falseness, and you can't take anymore. It really was. Well,
and in a way, it isn't out for him because he's like, "Oh, cool, I've made the agreement." And
I'm out, and somehow, no doubt, she'll do this. But it's like a suicidal impulse, totally mixed up with maybe I'll actually get out this way. And you want out. It's also wonderful because you're sitting there, and as much as you can kind of be like really into the movie, which I was, you also it really sells the dreadfulness that you.
All this is happening. All this is happening while the local sheriff.
I forgot.
Upstairs talking to him, and then it's like, oh, let's go look at the bees, right? And there's this incredible interaction where it is not even so subtly implied. It's everything been outright stated that he babysat him and did something untoward, probably molestation.
Oh, you clearly molested him. Clearly, you gave him a credit and I didn't. What was his name again? You just praised him to the name. The
Stavros.
Stavros Halkias, yes.
Who is a prominent comedian that comes from like the leftist world, actually. I first heard about him from the Chapo Trap House crew. Like, would show up on that show a lot. But he's been in all sorts of Come Town. It's the name of
Oh,
his
okay.
show,
Okay.
which
Yeah.
the name's always kind of kept me away. But I know people in my world that are like, "Oh, I listen to that. I listen to that all the time." I'm like, "Great. Well, it's too bad they call it
Great.
Hometown, so I'll never fucking listen to it." But pardon my French. But he
But
he
yeah,
is
he gives a great. Just to give you context, he's just the local cop.
yeah.
But and he's pudgy. He seems like a non-entity, but he seems very friendly to her. He literally stops Teddy on his bicycle on his way to work to talk to him. And there's something insidious and weird, and you're like, "What, does he have a crush on him?" And then it turns out, yes, the history is he was once his babysitter and a very bad babysitter. And then it keeps getting revealed incrementally that yes, what at one point he said, "Well, sorry for whatever went down," something like that.
Right. And again, it's never explicitly stated because
Never
feels
explicit, but
like
it's
if he
pretty
never
damn
says
clear.
it, it makes it less real or less bad somehow.
Yes, that if
So
you don't
this is
actually.
going on upstairs. Well,
Mhm.
this death on downstairs between the two characters is going on that leads to his suicide.
It's suicide.
Because the
They're
whole
cutting back
time
and forth.
he's trying to get him out of the house.
Yeah.
Obviously they can't get up to their antics with the cop around,
Mhm.
but then also dealing with like the Stavros character, who's great by the way. If Stavros ends up being
Yeah.
becoming like a that guy character actor, I would be very happy because
Mhm.
he's hilarious. He's a great talent. He's like a
It's
real
very good.
cinephile.
Yeah, yeah.
He's so good in this role. I have to imagine it's this Greek solidarity that Yorgos put him in, but
Mhm.
hey, I'm not mad at
Oh,
it.
no,
Uh,
perfect. Perfect.
and then and so then that's like when it really takes somehow a darker turn is when downstairs like he feels like he's got his out, so he gives himself his out and shoots himself, and then of course
The
the
cop
sheriff
hears it.
character
Oh,
hears it.
they're out looking at the bees, and he
Yeah.
hears it and realizes, okay, because he's already suspected there's something going on. This
Yeah,
is
wouldn't
very
you?
Wisconsin death trip,
Oh my
Ed
god.
Gein,
Yeah.
Texas Chainsaw territory of what's been going on.
I drive past places like these all the time. You know what I mean? If you just go out of the city, it's like, oh, there we go. All right.
Oh yeah, they're really the falling apart. People who can't afford to repair the house. They just look so dark and crumbling and lost that you're
Big Trump sign painted on the barn or something where it's like, oh god.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
so that's like where there's again an already dark story takes an even darker turn because you keep thinking, well, it's not going to end well for him. Again, like he's the henchman, the loving henchman.
Oh, you know from the beginning. It can't. There's no way this can end well. There's no way from the beginning.
No chance.
Like no Coen brother movie about a crime being planned has ever been more sure than like this can't go well.
We skip past it, but I was going to invoke the Coen brothers, no kidding, in the next sentence because the actual abduction, which is hilarious.
They love
She
kidnapping plots, so yeah.
She freaking immediately dispatches both of them, like in like
she's in hellaciously great shape, of
seconds.
course.
Yeah, so there's this great chase, and there's this wonderful shot that's shot from the position of her pool where he tackles her into the bushes, and they're both just kind of it's hard not to think of the Coen brothers when you think of that level of just kind of semi-competent but also incompetent. Like like an abduction isn't nice and clean like it is in these like big action movies. Of course it's not.
And these guys are living in a fantasy of their plan. They planned all you can within your own fantasy, and now they're up against the reality of someone who like probably runs 5 miles a day on her state-of-the-art treadmill. She's practicing some sort of fight martial arts. I don't know if it's Krav Maga or something, but it's a lot of punching and kicking that are effective.
And she gets their asses so quickly.
She kicks up their asses multiple times before they finally.
So funny because again these guys have been all they've been doing is preparing for this, and like she's like mid sing along like getting out of the car and just gets their asses immediately. So if it wasn't for them
to bring her
that was the only thing that like that worked. That's an incredible scene, and that reminded me of another one calling back to Eddington that as much as I love Ari Aster, I was like, oh wow, he can really do action well. That's awesome. I feel like with Yorgos, we don't see a lot of action. Like we see like small action sequences, but I thought that was an incredible action sequence.
Well done. His really timing is very good, I have to say. So yes, he really lands the key moments, and the momentum is wonderful. And the whole thing, and so much of it played in comedic long shot, which is
so good. And then they shave her head because, of course, that's how the aliens communicate is through
they're
hair.
convinced that's
And
how
it turns
aliens
out
communicate.
that's true too.
And it turns out that's true. So the mothership can't contact her because he cut off her hair.
You're like, what are these maniacs doing? Like, why are they? And then so you actually see her head get shaved on camera, which is like good, really.
I guess Emma Stone really had a hard time.
Yeah. I mean, it
doesn't look fun. It's crude with a razor. Yeah, Don's doing it. It's not being done well. So yeah.
Exactly. And he's like, well, I don't
know how to hurt her. You guys coming through.
It's like, you just abducted this woman. Don't want, like, okay, that's the least of your concerns at this point. It's such a compelling scene, and again, I think Emma Stone really has become one of her generation's.
She's so good, and I've always loved her. But she keeps just going from strength to strength to strength. She's great even in stuff I don't like.
Yeah,
I thought she was great in Kind of Kindness. So Jesse Plemons is great in everything. It's not like the actors aren't involved in that.
I mean, Super Bad, like Zombieland, like all those like comedies. She's like always just like such a great standout.
She's just always been fabulous. So
she just has this like parts. Like I feel like she's gone the equivalent of one. I ascribe it to Brad Pitt, where there was that time in the 90s was like, I can actually act, and so he starts taking like, give me the wildest freak that you've ever seen, and that's the role that I want to play. I feel like she's kind of doing that sort of thing for the past few years to great effect, and she's very good at it. So it's one of those things where it's like she can play. I mean, compared to some of the later works, like her role in The Favorites, like really kind of sedate by comparison.
Definitely.
Including the Curse too, the TV show The Curse, the Nathan Fielder vehicle, which it was crazy to me. She was in one of my favorite movies of the year and one of my favorite TV shows of the year, and she's fearless, and she's an incredible talent. And Plemons is another one. First time I saw him was in Breaking Bad. I was like, oh, okay, there's a discount Matt Damon over here. All right, what's he doing? And he should be like one of the only things I liked about that Fakakta Civil War movie, which I just couldn't stand.
Oh, I know he had the scene. He saved that movie. That central scene was so terrifying. I was like, oh my god, finally, this movie's got its feet somewhere on the ground that one can relate to. Yes, he was fantastic in that.
It's like having a full Thanksgiving dinner where everything is terrible except for one side dish, and you're like, well, that side dish is really good, though. So really, it wasn't a complete failure.
Telling everyone Civil War, it really sucks, but you got to see Jesse Plemons. This one little sequence is great.
He's another one that just very quietly has just been taking on these challenging roles and just really, really ruling it. Like I've grown to really respect his craft as an actor, and like when I see he's in something, I'm like, cool, that's awesome. I bet that's gonna be good.
And he's one of those amazing disappearing and somewhat physical transforming. His jawline suddenly seemed to come forward in this role. I don't know. Yeah,
he looks so weirdly gaunt.
He clearly lost weight for sure.
Do you remember The Machinist way back when? Christian Bale. Like it reminded me, and not to that level, but that level of just like, Jesus Christ, is that the same dude? Wow.
But just suddenly other features were coming to the fore.
The greasy, stringy hair and all that. I mean, it was.
But the pop-eyed, you can see that he's a fanatic, but at the same time, he's right to be a fanatic. I mean,
when he dresses, they dress up in suits when they first engage with her too, and it's so wonderful because it's like their attempt at like cleaning up and looking presentable is like, this looks crazier somehow.
They've got the old dead men suits from their family that they're wearing.
Like it suddenly it gives you big horror movie vibes. Like, what's going on here?
Yes.
It's more unsettling than just the initial detainment.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, they really picked these suits wonderfully. Yeah,
and it features heavily in the advertising and the poster and whatnot. But like having like the cream put on her to prevent the transmission, and it's so strange and bizarre and such a weird. Almost Cronenbergian sort of affectation, but like it's played to great effect. And again, just
another of the beliefs that if you cover her with what kind of cream is it again? No, I'm forgetting.
I don't remember precisely.
Oh, I read it. No, I'm forgetting what kind of cream. But she has to have this cream all over her because again, it stops her from communicating. I guess. Yeah, something like that. He explains it. So all these beliefs. So she's always slathered in this white gunk. Yeah.
And I will say that the whole thing where when he goes to the electroshock therapy with her and is
Yeah.
like, oh, well, I'm so sorry, I didn't realize you were royal. Which, like, how the what? Where did you like? Where did you get?
I
Huh?
didn't know. It's understandable. I didn't realize who you were.
Yeah,
And then he's so impressed, and you're just like, oh dear God. And she has to
because
wear a dress, an awful dress, a
yeah,
floor length dress that again, mom's,
yeah,
some dead relative's dress that she's now swanning around in for this dinner.
formal
It's just,
dinner for this Texas
oh
Chainsaw Massacre style dinner. Great.
yes, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, where you're forced to dine with maniacs and you hoping nothing's going to go off, and at the same time, something's.
And that goes back to where you're saying about the the rhetorical sparring too, where they get on the subject of bees because he's a beekeeper and whatnot, and then there's this back and forth that he's like, oh, I actually really respect bees, what do you, and they talk about colony collapse disorder, which I feel like is absolutely vital to understanding this movie, that this movie is about the human colony collapse disorder, basically. And and then like it's first of all, oh, it's a pleasant conversation, they're sharing a topic, and then it's like, well, is there anything you want to say? And like, well, what do you mean? And what he wants to hear is like, but you're causing this to happen.
Yes, and she won't
say that. And like he gets more and
she's pretending, in fact, that they're doing things to alleviate. And he's like, oh, come on. So even though she's royal, he's not having it.
So you see this escalation again happening where it's like, oh my God, this dinner table, like was like the second it sort of backs off the heat a little bit, as the burner just comes right back on. Yeah. And I think that's incredible as well. And that's another example of, well, it's like I was saying earlier with Glenn Ross. If you just get two really great actors together and give them excellent dialogue and let them sort of lob back and forth, you see this really incredible thing that goes beyond the page. And that's a masterclass in acting. Sing Sing, that happened a lot in Sing Sing. That's another reason one I can think of. And it just reminds me so much of just how over plotted yet under scripted in some ways so many modern movies are, that they just forget that you don't need to guide everyone around by the nose. If you have people that are talented at acting, you can let them go, let them do their thing. You don't have to like have 1,000 cuts per minute with Vox style explainers about what's happening in the plot. You can just let them go, and you can build tension and you can build feeling with that. And I think that some of the complaints lobbed at Yorgos Lanthimos are valid and some are not, but that's something he doesn't got to give nearly enough credit for. I mean, arguably, I know it didn't work for you, but Kinds of Kindness it's all about like his players, right? It's all about like letting them
3 different narratives with the same 4 actors, just
and like any anthology, some are better than others, right? But you're letting these incredibly talented forces interact with each other and play off these comedic and dramatic beats. And they're deployed differently. Each one has a different feel to it. And something where it was wild that was his follow-up to Poor Things. Like it was sort of like, oh, this relentlessly mean anthology movie. Okay.
I know. That's amazing because yes, he was riding such a high. All these awards, this mainstream success, and then he just... Actually, the Coen brothers do that all the time.
I was going to say, the Coens did it multiple times.
What do we do now to ruin our own momentum?
What could we do to set this house on fire? Exactly. Right. And
so I have to admit that was startling. And then this to come out so quickly after, and so no wonder he's saying, I'm taking a year off or whatever. He must be dead on his feet by now. It's great.
Well, and I think like this is the logical endpoint of this sort of existentialist angst series of movies that he's done that all kind of tap into this current moment in such a way that is very profound but bleak. Like people are saying like, oh, it's so cynical. I'm like, yeah.
What would it be? How is that cynical? To be trying to call it what it is not cynical. Cynical is I refuse to even, because what's the point? Because as you said, truth lies. What's the difference? So why do we have to be made uncomfortable by these confrontations? The greatest thing about the dialogue in this movie, the extensive sparring, rhetorical sparring, is it's also thematized in the film about how he can't take it anymore, witnessing the kind of puppet theater politics that we are now locked in. People really act like, again, if everyone would just talk civilly, that's the end point. That's not the end point. That doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
That's just a bunch of people yakking it up, and the left is far too prone to fall for this. if you ever been a member of an organization and attended meetings, and I won't name the organization, you're just like, are you fucking kidding? The
Yeah.
world is cratering, and we're sitting here discussing the bylaws for the 27th meeting. I'm like, I think that syllable can stand. What are you doing? What are we doing? And we're not doing anything. And admittedly, nobody knows what to do, and that's really what's the most terrifying thing. What are we going to do, given that talk is not doing it and action needs to come into play? And we know what it means to take when we're talking about taking action. We are so outgunned. We are so really outnumbered. We are so in this country that you're like, we really are looking at a movie about an impasse, and we're in an impasse. So there's a lot of tremendous discomfort around that, like Teddy's plight. And if he's mentally ill, you don't blame him for being mentally ill.
Because he call out being harmless and hopeless, right? Like that's like the argument. And it's like, well, isn't that what our current state is in the real world?
Because we've been rendered, he thinks, by the aliens.
Yeah, by an outside force, right?
As he says, because his cousin is like, how can you tell which ones are the aliens? And he's like, oh, no, they're all right. They're like us. They've been rendered harmless and hopeless like us. So we're all no threat to anybody. So it's going to be Teddy and Don who become a threat because somebody's got to do it.
So two things on that. First of all, on the earlier point, I always think of the Monty Python, People's Front of Judea versus.
Yeah, I think of it all the time. You call it the Judean people, or the People's Front of Judea, and an impassioned argument.
This is like the sum totality of the meeting, and that's like every leftist get together ever.
Oh my god!
So I'm not the only one that finds that maddening.
I was literally just. In fact, I think from this movie, I was thinking, oh my god, that's right. Yeah. So it's
and the other thing I want to mention is John Ronson's Them, the book Them, which came out many years ago. The sort of culminating the narrative of it, because he's exploring cults and like cult like behavior and things along those lines. But this is like 20 years ago, something along those lines, and he's talking about all like the UFO cults, like the I can't remember the name of the fella, but the guy that what's his freaking name? That was
oh, sorry.
I can't think. I wish I had the book next to me, but
I lost the thread. Okay.
So basically, he's like, so it's called Them is the name of the book, right? And so like it's something where like finding the them here, and so he talks about like what at the time, because this book came out in like 2005, 2006, like 20 years ago, right? It hasn't been like weaponized in the same way, so it's all like protocols of the elders of Zion, right? That was like a big thing on there, and then you have
white supremacists,
sure.
Philosophically and all that.
Like basically anti-Jewish propaganda, things along those lines. But the main thing with it is that at the end of it, they go to Bohemian Grove, and like he goes there with Alex Jones, because this is Alex Jones of like 20 years ago, who then basically takes over the whole thing and makes it all about his like particular brand of insanity. But the reason why I'm invoking all of that somewhat ineloquently is that I feel like this is the end state of that, of it reminded me of that, like, oh, these are the people that actually run things. These are the people that run things, and like there's something going on with them. They're demons, they're aliens, they're this, they're that, they're the other. And so this is like the end state of that, where you have, again, shows and facts. You have these information wormholes that people get stuck into, these cozy circles of confirmation bias. That you have him like sketching the spaceship. Oh, this is the ship they travel in, he says very confidently, and it's like, what? Like, what are you freaking talking about, dude? And then it turns out it's actually a pretty good rendering. Pretty close. Pretty close. So respect. And so that goes beyond the people talking past each other, and that gives some nuance to this is like confirmation bias, radicalization wormholes, and that is the natural end state of that. There must be a larger issue to why the world is the way it is, because we couldn't possibly have done this ourselves. Which the true horror of it is, actually we did, though.
We did. Yeah, that's the message of the ends. You
and people, and I'm like
as a species, that there's no cure for you. There's no help for you. We keep letting you go on and watching you and thinking maybe you'll course correct, and you never course correct. So
it's
a
it's it's
plug's going to have to be pulled. Yeah.
and so then, and I don't necessarily want to skip right to the ending, but I think it's worth noting that it could have been handled very differently. Like there is a very deep empathy and sort of logical weight of order of events resulting in critical thinking when she makes the call to like, yeah, end it, which is to say in the earth. And you get this crazy montage of people, whose lives have ended. They're like
Which is
driving
weird. It's
boats.
only human lives. So
Yeah.
at first it looks like she just pops the presumably dome of
Fear goes away. Yeah. And it's
gases that allow us to live. But then you're seeing animals and bees survive.
Yeah.
It
The
doesn't make any
dogs are
sense.
fine. The bees are fine. Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense, but you're like, okay, it's clearly just they've somehow figured out how to just kill the humans to save the earth. Okay. And,
I was gonna say, I guess there could be some explainer as to why they do, but I think it's stronger without it, because it's sort of like, no, you just have to, if you're bought into, and I guess not everybody is, to the fact that like, no, this is an alien with their just absurd outfits.
Yes, hilarious.
That all are very hairy. Oh yeah, I want to communicate you. Oh yeah, they shaved my hair though, so I communicate. Amazing. That I think that part of it is, I think that's hard for
and again, it's the animals are imperiled. Everything else is imperiled. It's all human doing, and
and it is, and that's the reality. That's the reality of our actual world, and that's something that I don't understand why people were upset about. That maybe it's upset about how like it's deployed. I'm like, look, the culpability is like firmly put back on humanity. And by the way, I totally get where Yorgos is like, hey, I'm out of the game for a little bit. This is too much for me right now.
Yeah,
because I feel like, and I know my colleague in Movie Night Extravaganza, Forrest, agrees that this is like the culmination of this sort of existentialist angst thing that he's been circling for the past few years, and it's the most focused. And it's weird that people are not seeing past some of the who's correct in the argument aspects.
There's even in an interview. I think it might be the screenwriter Will Tracy saying the point isn't to figure out who's right.
Yeah, who's right. Like, are you kidding me?
Like he's right or you're supposed to be following and being moved back and forth by many tricky arguments and reflecting on your own sense of all this. And there's nobody
it's the back and forth. It's like literally like, you are swayed multiple times by the arguments back and forth within the context of the story. And the point of that is to note that
make
again,
you engage again.
And it doesn't really
seems like you've exhausted. So it keeps finding ways to do things. It would have been more of a cliche to have him be a right-wing talk radio guy.
Oh, that would have made a much lesser movie.
Yeah. So instead, he has many strong left-wing talking points, many more by far. Just I think not because it's like the left is right. The right is not. It's destabilizing. So you can't get comfortable with your position that easily. He just wants you to re-engage, and people are just mad at the strangest things. The whole ending, but I saw one review went on and on about the final song, which is the old, Vietnam War era "Where Have All the Flowers Gone" song. But important to note, this person didn't. He just hated it. Why do we have to have all 5 choruses? It's so dumb. And I'm like, but it's Marlene Dietrich, much older Marlene Dietrich singing it, and she was the ultimate world-weary realist, shall we say, who'd seen it all and done it twice. Her singing of it is not the sweet, hopeful, where have all the flowers. It's a battered, gin-soaked version of Where Have All the Flowers. It's a whole different vibe. So I guess you could question, why do we have to see all the human bodies positioned all different situations and places with this song being sung over it? But not to note that it's Dietrich, old Dietrich singing this particular way is weird. It's just weird. Yeah.
Well, and for me, that I guess got a bleak sensibility. I don't know, but like for me, like if you're going to kill off the human race, like let's see what happens. What if you're driving a boat? Okay, that looks like that would look like this. What if you were at the beach?
It takes you everywhere. It takes you to all sorts of scenarios where here's the workplace. Everyone's dead here. Here's
they're
I don't know, a playing field. Here's a boat. Here's this. Yes, it goes all over the place.
You're at mass. You're in your swimsuit. Okay,
and it clearly wants you to kind of think like, is it freeing? Do you kind of feel better?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
can we just end this experiment? We know it's ending if, the emergency measures we should have been taking for years and years and years, we have not taken.
Oh, there were emergency measures we should have taken when you and I were children.
Oh no, when decades ago.
We didn't. We didn't. We
didn't. And so we keep not, even when it's past the point of.
Well,
so we're looking at our own self-destruction here. Which again, on the right, there's a refusal. There's Donald Trump. It's the biggest hoax ever run. Climate change. Blah blah blah. We're responsible, and it's going to kill us all. No, see again, that's that common ground thing. Are you going to try and find common ground?
You're not going to find common ground with something like that. And we've gone so far beyond conservation efforts. What we need to talk about is terraforming this planet, not Mars, but this planet. There needs to be active efforts put towards terraforming this planet. Because conservation, that was decades ago. It's over. That is.
I can remember in second grade seeing some little documentary they showed about all the animals that were dying off and just feeling such terrible urgency and coming home and being like, the tigers are, we've got to do something. Yeah. That's how long ago I was in second or third grade.
It's it's such a bleak proposition in reality.
That how you can have a measured, let's get civil discourse going again, reaction.
If we bring civility to the discourse, that'll solve it. Oh yeah, that'll work it right out.
How you think you're not going to be driven to an extreme? Isn't that one of the memes going around? What turned you into such a radical? Basic human decency turned me into a radical because we're watching genocide. We're just watching just the most wholesale destructive human actions. All by everyone in power. It's insane. It's amazing. Or almost.
Well, and that's one of the reasons why the her speech, the Michelle speech, the Emma Stone character's speech is just so powerful. Because again, at the end of it, there's nothing you can say other than nailed it. Got us there.
One more point. I should explain, because it's getting explained all over the place. The title, if you're wondering about the title Bugonia, you can go to almost any review. Everyone has to tackle it, but I'm going to go to a kind of lengthy thing that was in, of all things, Time magazine. This is what Bugonia is about, the definition and what it refers to, how it's being used, supposedly. The title is, and this is a quote, an ancient Greek word meaning progeny from an ox, or you'll also see ox birth, that refers to a ritual that sprang from the myth that bees could spontaneously generate from the carcass of an ox killed without any blood being spilled, a means of sacrifice that generally resulted in prolonged suffering for the animal. In addition to the ambiguous nature of the largely unknown word appealing to Bugonia's filmmakers, screenwriter Will Tracy told Independent TV the title can also be read as a figurative nod to the overall message of the movie, which is based on a South Korean, which we hadn't mentioned, sorry.
Oh, right.
South Korean filmmaker Jang Joon Hwan's 2003 sci-fi cult classic, Save the Green Planet. And quote from Tracy. Quote, you could take that as a metaphor for contemporary, certainly American life or human civilization if you wish, that there might be some opportunity or new life that could arise from the ashes of something that's quite corrupt. That's one way to look at it. So just the idea that something could emerge that's new, creative, affirming from essentially, a dead carcass. And apparently the belief used to have to do with the kinds of flies, I believe, that would settle and they had gold and black qualities, if you want to get into the weeds, that had a big resemblance to bees. So you'd get new life out of this old carcass. So, that's the hope. That's the kind of thing we're calling hope in this movie, is out of the rotting carcass of humanity on this planet that we're killing. Something new might arise.
And I wish that the movie at the time of this recording, it's so new in theaters and barely out that they don't have there's not the IMDb quote section isn't as long as that'd be, but I mean that again, I just cannot overstate if somehow Emma Stone ends up getting an Academy Award nomination, which she might, because they love giving nominations to people that have already won too,
and Plemons might get one, and
might get one as well. But I think we would see that speech, her just basically giving the rundown for about 2 minutes about why humanity has damned itself, because it's so brutal. But every piece of it is yep, Also, yep. Okay. Also, yep. Ooh, got us
Mhm.
there. And it's so bleak, but again, in a way that, as much as Yorgos has leaned into like the meanness and the existential angst of it all, I
Mhm.
think there is a hint of optimism to it, where it's like, no, this call this a very jacked up cautionary tale
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
the culpability is on the same parties, but maybe without the outside trigger to end it all. That I think that I hope that this is looked at as the profound allegory that I really do feel it is. And it's something where I could see coming back to this and like even like rating it higher.
Mhm.
Um, just without some of the more shocking elements. He does love to shock though.
He
And it does a
does.
great job. And if you like that about him, you're going to have a great time with this
Yes.
insane movie.
And it's interesting that it's doing well, especially by his standard of box office,
Right.
because he's pretty niche, and he's done remarkably well considering how specific his filmmaking is, and how kind of all
Well,
out.
and again, that's the sort of the goofus and gallant of him and Ari Aster. I feel like somehow that like Ari Aster just can't get arrested, like because which is hilarious because everybody loved Hereditary, myself inclusive. Most people
No,
love
and not me,
Midsommar.
but never mind.
I was not insane
I'm
about
a bit Aster
Midsommar.
allergic myself.
I know you're not a big fan, but there is something about like his just like real boink 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 bleak sensibility that like
Yes.
obviously turns people off. He likes to challenge, he likes to provocate.
Mhm.
But I thought he did a really amazing job with Eddington. And again, it's just I don't know if it's just too much for
Well, and I
people,
think it's
but
just also gives rise to the question of what is a sane. Never even mind sane. What is the stance to take? What is the
yeah.
mental state to cultivate in the extremes of the situation we live in? I
Yeah.
actually don't know. Right?
If we had those answers, I think we
I
would.
mean, but doesn't it seem like it's insane to be kind of sane?
Yeah.
If we're all sane and balanced in this, that's maniacal.
Well, and I think it comes back to the large perspective of us living in basically times that are impossible to satirize.
Yeah.
Because every day there's something where it's like news article or Onion headline,
Yeah.
every day. And
Yes.
that's the world that we live in. And there's a certain degree of hopelessness that's engendered by the fact that, we used to at least have, at least we got dark satire and dark comedy.
Mhm.
But now it's like, no, we can't. I mean, it has to be completely absurdist for it to even get across because it's just, we live in post-satirical times somehow. They took that away from us somehow.
Yes.
And
right.
that's horrifying. So what's there left to do? Well, there's a different kind of provocation, which is the extreme allegory that comes across as more or less an updated version of a fairy tale, cautionary tale, if you will. And
Mhm.
that's what this is. I'm shocked that people are like, not dealing with it that like in that way. And it's like, well, what did you think this was gonna be?
I know.
You want to hold hands and
Not
sing
not like the
like buy a
poster.
world of Coke?
The
I'm like,
poster doesn't look like it's gonna
yeah,
be
it's like it's gonna be a good time to me.
fun
I mean,
time. It's the shaved, tortured-looking head of Emmett.
oh yeah, it was like a real left riot. Are you fucking kidding me? I mean,
Well, and yeah, it is weird. It is weird to know anything, but to be a critic who knows anything about anything. But I see this all the time. This weird. I'm surprised by this, or I'm outraged by this, and I'm like,
yeah,
hello, how old are you? How many movies have you seen? It takes a
right.
lot by now. I've been watching movies avidly for just decades and decades. It takes a lot to shock. I mean, you can't help but get jaded. You've mostly seen almost everything done
Yeah.
at least a couple of times, well, badly, however. But you do this I have not seen. I have not seen exactly this, even though it reminds me of other things. Of course, that's going to be true. But,
Right. I mean,
the outrage you'll get, petty, prim outrage over just nothing. Just absolutely nothing.
well, and then there's certain aspects. I think that's the whole truth for all his movies. I felt that way with Poor Things. To be like, oh, it's just update of Frankenhooker. I'm like, first of all, nice reference, but no, it's not.
Wow, yeah.
Frankenhooker, get out of here. There's by the way, nobody expected a Frankenhooker reference on this show, but you're welcome. All right,
But,
there it
yeah.
is. But I think that's kind of one of the things he excels at, and he excels at in such a way that it's wild that he's a mainstream filmmaker to me.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I don't
threaded
quite
the needle somehow and come through and found a following. And again, his best opening ever for this film. Wow.
which is nuts because you got to imagine people are gonna be like, what did I
What
just
the
see,
hell?
right?
Oh, one of the people who gave it a bad review said, yes, he saw someone down front going, what the, he saw people doing the what the fuck. At the end of the movie, when it turns out she's,
But think of
and they pulled the plug on humanity, and in the last 3 minutes. So.
But think of our great challenging film directors, our David Lynch's, our
Oh yeah,
John Carpenter's, our David Cronenberg, even the Coen brothers, where they
this
just
is it.
they serve things up and it's like, here it is, and people are like, what is this? And then later on, of a lot of those cases, like masterpiece, but at the time, no, people
Once
did
you've
not feel
done
that way.
Lynch, for God's sake, I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
come on, you know, yeah. So early Cronenberg, yeah, yeah. But those were that was good education. That was good, solid education. You should have
yeah,
gotten if you were a cinephile at all. You need to do your Lynch, your Cronenberg. I would say your Coens, but you get your,
yeah.
and just people just don't seem to have. It's unforgivable for film critics to be this easily, knocked off balance. I just find that outrageous.
Well, yeah. I mean, what are you watching?
Like,
what,
that's what I mean.
are you watching?
What the hell are you watching?
And that's why, and I'm just going to use this opportunity to slag off Luca Guadagnino, who I hate. That
I
like it's just like
to join you in that.
If you think that dude is challenging, like the only thing challenging about it is getting through these movies to me, frankly. Peace and love in my heart. But just
after the hunt,
appalling.
man. After the hunt, man.
The Emperor has no clothes.
He should just be disbarred. He should just have his license revoked. I don't know what you could do, but stop him. Just make him stop.
You're gonna launch a full investigation to Luca Guadagnino, have him incarcerated. Anyway, hey, sorry for that guy to get be catching flack in a completely unrelated episode, but I feel like if that's your idea of what's challenging, like I don't know what to tell you. Like that's
that's sad.
That's pathetic. And so I love that this is, even if this doesn't go beyond like the first weekend, this has this crazy opening weekend of people's like,
exactly. Word could go out that it's such a what the fuck and no one else comes, but
and maybe that's what's going to happen. I don't know, but either way, the fact that this dude is able to play at this level, and again, I didn't really care for Dogtooth. I thought it was fine. I thought The Lobster was pretty good, but I feel like this guy has only gotten better as time has gone on.
Yeah, this I definitely think. I put this in the favorite as my two favorites. Yeah.
And there are people that just like oh no, it's all about Dogtooth. Really? Okay. I mean, it's almost like simplistic compared to like some of the larger ideas presented later. The filmmaking's there; it's good. It's just like, why are you hung up on that? Why is that the one?
That's always the the move. It's cooler. The early stuff is cooler before everyone got on
their first record. Okay, great.
Before he compromised himself.
Here's your trophy. Your medal's in the mail, sir. Yeah.
But yeah, this is definitely one that should be one of the. Yeah, I agree with you. It's one of the year's must see. So,
I feel like there hasn't. I know we're entering award season time, but I feel like there hasn't been a lot of that. This year, I really
it's been a bad year for me anyway. Yeah.
I liked Eddington a lot. I like Sinners. I thought Sinners was great.
Sinners. I love One Battle After Another.
One Battle After Another, I think is wonderful. And again, I don't think either of us are huge Paul Thomas Anderson guys.
No,
but,
not at all.
Yeah, I know you're
more startling. What? I'm loving this. What's happening?
What a wonderful surprise that was.
Yeah, my God.
I liked Life of Chuck a lot, which couldn't get arrested practically. I mean, nobody saw it.
I didn't see it. Yeah, I recommended it already. I think
I did. Yeah, good luck trying to see it. They put it to a black site practically, but but it's just been kind of a tough year, and there's a few movies like I want to see. I'm a direct big Park Chan-wook fan, so I want to see.
No
Other Choice. That one looks like that'll be interesting. I feel like he's kind of slowly taking a Hitchcockish turn in a good way, like a compliment. And then, of course, we were both blown away by Caught Stealing because I thought Aronofsky was like juiceless at this point, and I was like, "Wow, this is great. This is wonderful."
Very pleasantly surprised with that. So yeah, there's been a sprinkling of nice of good or good to great, but it's not. I would be hard put to come up with. If somebody said come up with 15, I'd be like, nah. I don't think I got 15 for this year. No.
I've got a solid 10. I think
maybe I can do 10. I could probably.
Splitsville was really good. I liked Weapons a lot.
I'd really have to go back and study everything since back in January. I'm sure I could.
But I think we're entering Oscar bait season.
We are.
Sorry, excuse me, Prestige season. My bad.
Heading toward the peak. Yes. Whatever.
So there's going to be some insufferable biopics. I'm sure. There's going to be some.
No, I like since we're doing this, Springsteen. because it's not a typical biopic, which is why no one's going. It's not doing
in
well.
Nebraska, right? Yeah. So
Yes, he's a depressive who's becoming suicidal
Yeah.
in the creation of this album nobody wants. And I'm like, I am so there. I thought it was going to be him rocking out in the stadiums that are packed and
Sure,
the boss. And I was just like, Jesus, I'm going to hate this movie, which is what everyone else, clearly all the fans wanted. And I was like, I was the only happy person in that theater going, yes.
That's
perfect.
encouraging, because you're now the second person whose opinion I respect who has said that they enjoyed it. And for those reasons, because I have flat out said that, especially after that freaking Bob Dylan one that came out, I was like they just need to, we need to stop all musical biopics immediately.
Oh, this is how I felt the same. I would have taken it further and said biopics.
I'm personally attacked, so I you know, as a musician, like I'm like, no,
God. You're suffering more than most.
How could that Mangle character put on that freaking Bob Dylan movie after Walk Hard exists? Like, my guy, this.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm always saying. This has been spoofed all to hell. How can they still be doing this?
It was excoriated in a way that it would be like trying to make a guileless hard rock biopic now after Spinal Tap exists. Like they got your ass. Like there's no question. Like you got. Oh no, here it is. And then people are like, oh, that's great. I'm like, is it really? Is it? Is it?
So I was just dreading it. So, you have to factor that in. My expectations were in the sub basement. So I enjoyed it based on that. It's nothing like that. It's just like, let's look at him being depressed in his bedroom again. And I'm like, I'm there.
That sounds interesting. It's at least a unique take. I mean, like, right? Focusing on that one section of time rather than
the worst period after his horrible childhood of his life. The worst year of his life.
That's Bruce Springsteen. He has to think about his entire life before he plays. Like that kind of.
Yes. So anyway, sorry, we segued.
Sorry. So back to Bugonia. Bugonia's
it is that end of the year mode when you start trying to think of what you've seen that you've liked.
So it's fabulous to have this just like fabulous freak of a movie, just bulldoze into the scene when we're just, I'm sure we're just going to have the most, the vile dreck of Plum.
God awful shit that's coming our way that people are awed by and love.
I can't wait to see.
And they're going to win awards, and all the usual shit will happen. Yes, but especially if you feel like you're jaded, and everything you see seems so weak and so unable to punch through the horrors of our time, like the distracting, impossible qualities of our time. This is a good one. This is a good one to see.
Absolutely, and I hope people do check it out, and I. This is the kind of thing I love. And it's one of those things. Sometimes I'll even love if it's a swing and a miss, but this is a swing and a hit, man. This one's great. Like this is. I wouldn't say it's a perfect movie, but it is one of my favorites of this year by far.
Yeah, agreed. 100% agreed. So I'm so glad. I thought we might have to duke this one out, and we didn't. We totally agree. So that is it for our episode that I am calling Bugonia and the Rhetorical Impasse. It's not going to sell big, but I like it. Thanks.
That's like an academic paper.
I thought I'd get a little heady because the movie's a little heady.
Yeah, it is.
Thank you so much for joining us, Conan. It was terrific to get to talk to you.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. And thank you, dear listeners. And of course, triple thanks to our subscribers who keep us in antifreeze and Jennifer Aniston face masks. You'll have to see the movie to even know what I'm talking about, but they both figure prominently. If you're not a subscriber yet, but you like what you hear, please consider signing up with Patreon for all the Film Site content instead of just the half that's available to the public. And it's now available, half of it is also available to view on YouTube, including this one. We'll both be looking beautiful on this episode. Yes, look at Conan.
Do what I can when I can.
Fabulous outfit, Conan. Thank you. And you can follow News of the Podcast as always on Facebook, Instagram, and Blue Sky. Join us in 2 weeks for more fun but fabulous film site conversation. Till then, we wish you happy viewing and start with this one. Bye.